just so you know, your screen is technically live.
My screen's live? Oh my gosh.
We might be live. I can never tell. I can never tell.
Well, what's the
But it says we're
send
live.
send the URL to me and I'll check it, see if we're live.
I'm gonna check it right now.
All right.
I'm also gonna post it on the Discord channel.
Cool.
If anybody's watching, please let us know in the chat.
We do appreciate everyone who joins our chat. It just makes us feel so loved and so appreciated.
Okay, we
And
are
that's nice.
definitely live and online, and I can see
If you can see
your
my
stuff.
screen, what did it just change to? Hmm.
Where'd you go?
All right. Should we just get started?
Yeah, we can. We are officially. Oh, we're officially live. I still have to get the video, our videos working up there, but I will figure that out. But you're good to go. Uh, Hi, everybody. If there's anybody watching, let us know in the chat. It's always more fun.
Yeah. Go independent streaming. So this is going to be our first episode of Peas and Paper, which is talking about well, in this particular episode, I guess if you want to say, this stream, we're going to be talking about taking characters that have the same sort of model and like adding some personality into them. So, I think there's a little backstory, a little context that we need to talk about, Lindsay.
Yes.
So, if you will recall back to the expo formerly known as Salt Lake Animation Expo, where we shared a table together, I think it's necessary for people to understand the origin of the peas and how these sort of characters came to be about. On my screen, you can see like the character model that was eventually done by myself and Michelle Zhu. Um, but I want to hear that story from your point of view.
My point of view.
Yeah, your point of view, because you were sitting
Um,
right next to me. You saw it happen, but I mean, I can talk about like
I
my
went to
thought
a meeting.
process.
I went to a meeting. And we had a class. We, we had a class. From my point of view, we had a class from. It was our rigging class. Rin, the supervisor, the rigging supervisor at Wild Brain, on the Snoopy specials, the Snoopy short, so the Snoopy show. She was doing a breakdown of all of the skills needed to be a rigging artist. And I came back to the table and there were just peas everywhere. The table was littered with peas. And that was all you. And it was quite the shock. But once I saw it, I was like, oh, this is appeasing. This has got a peel. And I think the most recognizable part was that people started joining along. I have all those papers still, actually. I have absolutely all those extra papers and those designs. And I think that the thing that I I noticed the most was how much people really loved contributing to the world that you just created this little microcosm of a garden on the table, and people started to draw vegetables, bring in characters, bring in life, and it was so apparent that was the direction that we had to go in. So it was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I think that one of the things that we find so appeasing, as you say, about these characters is like, so eat your peas, the mentorship, right? We're talking about taking people's skills and helping them transition from being just out of school or having some training to professional level experiences and into training, right? And so we wanted to have this idea of a character that was easy to deal with, easy to animate, and something that you could learn quickly without having all the complications of, a full blown, hero rig, but like a hero rig on a little bit of a microcosm scale. Going back to the idea that these peas were like a microcosm of something. But so I mean, what better to than the P of eat your peas to bring that idea in and use it as a good way to set a foundation um, for something that would be easy to easy to do the work on, right?
Hmm.
Something that was basic enough yet advanced enough to where you could pull off a lot of different things with it.
Yeah,
And a
bite size of professionalism.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something that you could take and it wasn't this massive meal that you had to consume just to, finish something. It was just these little bite-sized bits that could get somebody into the process of everything and be able to not, get overwhelmed in the process. So and I got bored. So
Hmm.
that's probably one of the other reasons is I just got bored and I had a big marker set in front of me, and I had paper and I just started sketching. And so some of those sketches that are behind you are from that, I believe, and the ones behind me right here, well, no, on this side, are all from that as well. Just kicking around and doing sketches. And I think that's one of the things that I don't know, like appeals to me about art is sort of like that not just something to do when you're bored, but like taking things that you're seeing as you are bored and then starting to be curious about the world around you and then maybe imbuing some sense of life into a character, right? So going from this model, so let's zoom in on this model a little bit. And it's fairly simple, right? We've got a big ball, it's got two eyes and a mouth and arms and legs and a brow ridge there. So if we were to like you know talk about the main sections that we would be worried about or when we're doing posing and drawing and giving these different P's like P personalities. And one of the other rules was that every P had to have an alliterative name, right? So we couldn't have anything that was like, curious P or whatever like that. It had to be have a P name. And maybe someday we'll get like a wheel of different P names and spin it and go from there.
Hope
Whether it
so.
be digitally or whatever. But like going from this, we had this area here, right, which was the main facial area, and then that would extend up into these brows, right?
Okay, wait. Before
And
you
if
get too
you,
far, I want to double check with our audience because we have somebody watching who was actually at Salt Lake City. Sounds like uh,
yeah,
Impagan, if I'm saying that right. But let us know what you thought of when you walked over to the table. But they're letting us know that our audio is really quiet, and that could be a me problem. That could be a you problem. I'm not quite sure. Um, Let us know. we named the scientist pea called Petrie. Do I have that image? Let me see if I have that image. But yeah, let us know what you remember or what you thought of when you walked over to the peas. We'd love to know that. And also, is our audio coming in better, or
I
can
just
you
turned up
see
my
the video?
microphone.
Because I've
Hopefully that helps.
hmm?
I turned up my microphone. Does that help?
um a little bit,
A little bit. And
a little bit.
what if I like get closer to my microphone? Does that help?
That also helps. That helps. That helps.
Okay. What if my
I
voice gets
am
deeper as I
gonna
go?
grab the. I'm gonna grab my. I'm gonna grab my images because let me see in my folder.
Okay. But kind of going back to what I was saying before, like, we have these sort of zones that we can use in the making of these different peas to give them, well, I guess we have to sort of identify the tools we're working with, right? So we've got this big round shape here, that's the body, and obviously that's pretty much just a animation bouncing ball with that we can distort and squash and stretch. Um, but you know, I think we need the chat to give us some good names for different peas, and we'll go off of that.
Okay,
So,
well, Petrie, a scientist.
Petrie, a scientist.
Yep,
Okay, so we're gonna
already
take
done.
this basic model here, and using these tools that we have available, arms, legs, and this sort of mask area, facial area, we can start to put together some poses. So, what do we think of when we think of science, right? There's regular science and then there's mad science, right? So we have two different types of science. First of all, I think we can go with um,
Mad science.
I think we should go with mad science first. So the mad science, as far as like performance wise, tends to be a little bit more on the eccentric and performative, right? Because if you had let's give him like a formula that he's just made, and then we can really start to exaggerate poses. And when we're working with like rigged elements, a lot of the time we don't really need to be as concerned about where the arms and stuff fit on the actual ball of the character, but we can exaggerate that and get that good line of action. And I'll draw that in red. Actually, no, I'm not going to draw that in red. I'm going to draw that in green because I can.
And we've got this little. So let me know if my audio is better. I'm tinkering with settings. We got online pretty easily today. Let me just say that was pretty exciting. But we do have this pea with a mustache, and I don't know. I forget who. We had a couple people design these peas, and I know this one came from a user.
Oh,
But
Morgan. That's Morgan.
is this Morgan? How do you remember that? But anyway, I love the mustache on this pea. Oops. So somehow it's giving Einstein is what it is, but
I think so. But like when in the performance of this one though, defining that line of action, and that's a principle that's been around in animation for a long time. I think it's a sort of Nine Old Men, even back to Freddie Moore and some of those other guys talking about line of action. I think Freddie Moore was actually one of the people who really drilled that idea home for a lot of the artists back in the old Disney days. But keeping with that kind of posing to make it very performative, and then putting that line of action up high, that sort of tilt line that we have, because we would put a tilt line right at the bottom of the eyes. So it's easy when you're animating in a 2D environment with frame by frame animation to do your roughs and just kind of define like where the eye is. And with these P's, we can put the eye up or down on the body to give it that sort of dimensionality, where you can. Do you have that? The P that was the stylus holder. Do you have it handy?
I just moved. It's not handy.
Oh no, it's not handy. Okay,
it's
I'll have to
it's
print some more.
it's in a
Um,
bag over on my hanging on my door handle,
okay.
along
At
with the
some point,
few of the last of the things that need to be unpacked.
we'll have to make some more of those and get them to people. Um, perhaps there's something that we can do as far as I don't know, a contest of some kind, maybe, or a raffle or whatever. I don't know. Tell us what you think. Would you
We
be
can figure that
interested
out.
in having a P stylus holder? Let us know. Okay.
Everybody's gonna
So
say yes.
every everyone's gonna say yes. Okay.
Because they are really cute. We did give them away at a school. I went to a school and did a workshop, and I gave them the file, and they sent me the pictures that they were all able to print.
Oh, cool.
So it does go over pretty well. Yeah,
We'll have to
the
figure out because there's a couple different styles that
mm-hmm.
people have, so we might have to try out a couple of different ones. But anyways, now we have this up here. We have the performance that's working a little bit, and for the mad science, I think it's good to have that sort of you know claw hand kind of you know uh, something that's a little bit more along the lines of, I guess, for lack of a better term, a creepy sort of aspect to it. Um, and then getting that mask working in a way like this. So this would be the red here would be like the normal reset of the mask, but then giving it this kind of a bent to it and the open end kind of moving towards what you want your audience to be looking at. So you have an open end and more of a closed end like this, right? And that open end is what's going to point to the thing that this particular P is looking at.
I love this hack, this design hack, this mask trick is so wonderful.
And then, but what you can do also is like that will help to define any kind of uh, um, shaping of the overall body. You can even get it to where you make this eye even bigger. Maybe that's a little too big. This eye is bigger here, and then this other eye can be scrunched a bit more, and then the big mouth, because we have all of this space, all of this sort of real estate, for lack of a better term, to put a big mouth. So we can even, you know, you can make it big because you have the space within the shape to work, right? And the peas don't really have teeth, although they probably could have teeth. We haven't really introduced any kind of mechanic by where they have teeth. So we can just put the tongue in there. They do have tongues, so I guess they could have teeth.
I think
Does it
we gave
look
him
weird?
teeth. Yeah.
What if he has like sharp teeth?
I mean, we these are all drawing swaps. We know how to do this.
And then maybe some bottom teeth like that, right? So because when your mouth is open, generally, you have to have your mouth open fairly wide to show your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Except for like maybe the top a little bit. The bottom tend to be more protected, unless you have a pronounced underjaw. But again, that speaks back to personality. So if you had a P that when he showed his teeth, it was the ones from underneath as opposed to the ones on the top. You'd probably want to put like a piece of weed or something like that in there and have him wearing a hat.
Different show, different show.
Hill, you what, man? Yeah. But
Is
that's a little King of the Hill ish for you.
is the audio is my audio better? Could you guys let me know if my audio is a little bit better? I'm playing with settings here. Um,
Okay. So now that we've kind of established what this pose is going to be, we can start to embellish it a little bit further, right? So, I mean, he could be saying something like, I found the formula or whatever that is cinematic and fun. And then we'll put these, the brow on this mask line. And I think we need to give him like pronounced big bushy brows.
okay, my audio is still a little on the low side. Any better this time? No. I'm trying to. I've got a nozzle. I'm turning it left and right. I hope it's not getting worse.
We could squish this
I might just need to sit a lot closer to my mic.
I think that might be the case. Okay. And then for a little bit of extra crazy, we could even make these eyes smaller and not touching the side to give it that wide-eyed kind of crazy look.
He's starting to look pretty crazy.
And then you could put like the bags under the eyes, which denotes that lack of sleep crazy. Um, and a lot of this stuff just comes from like observation, right? Like you, everybody has known somebody that's got a little crazy at one point. They're just like, dude, you need to get some sleep. You've been up for 48 hours. Like you've got to stop. You've got to put down Fortnite and go to sleep. Um, or somebody who's just like when we were in college working on short films, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. And that craziness starts to kind of come out a little bit just because they haven't been able to recharge. So I'm just going to turn this a little bit for ease of drawing. Sorry if it's a little disorienting.
I'm gonna try a different. I'm gonna come through my headphones and see if that makes a difference. Does this make?
You sound a little bit more tinny, but other than that, we'll take tinny if it's better. Okay. I'm down with that. Well, right now I think it's just a sort of a test tube with a formula that's in it. It's bubbling. Because I mean, you can't have a good formula that's not reacting, right? So make sure that these eyebrows got plenty of flyaways. Started to get flyaways in my own eyebrows, and it's off-putting to me, Lindsay. I have to admit, I'm not a fan.
Of what? These eyebrows or your eyebrows?
My
We're getting older.
eyebrows having flyaways. It's not great.
Is this a little bit better, everybody? I just went back to our original setup. Still no audio. How did we lose audio? Are you losing my audio or his audio?
Yeah, whose audio?
Whose audio is missing? audio should be back now.
Oh, that fickle audio. Always leaving us for our time of need.
I know. I don't know why it's quiet. That's the everyone's back now. Okay, audio's fine now, but I'm still coming in quiet, so I have to figure out why. We're trying to do this more often, get online more often, but we are trying to figure out our setup, our system.
Process P is still in development.
WIP.
Okay, so now we've got a kind of a basis, right, for Petri, the P, and we can work with that a little bit. I'm gonna clean up a few of these little lines so we can see what we've got a little bit more clearly, right? So we're not just dealing with a bunch of construction lines. And that might clear up some of the posing on this particular P. I think we're gonna have to like really up our alliteration game, though, Lindsay.
I can't even. I'm already stumbling over so many P words. It's hilarious. There's so many more to discover, which is even crazier. I mean, I love it.
Well,
even P's and paper just worked out so well.
If I may say, that's just precious. That's perfectly precious.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it.
All right, so let's get some fingers up, and again in that like claw-like pattern, right? It's gonna look a little bit like a garden rake. Because the hands are just simple, like really simple hands, right? Got like a basic, like block, palm, and then they're really simple shapes that we can work with. And then sometimes, if you bend them certain ways, then you have to accommodate for that kind of thing. But if we don't like this, it's kind of confusing here. And it perturbs me that it's confusing. So maybe we, instead of doing the claw in that way, we clear it out a little bit more and just make it a little bit more simple.
I really do love the hands on the P. I can honestly say that they're some of the most unique features and hands I've ever seen in a rig. And I think that they always create really unique challenges because when the hands are overlapped, there's a lot of black space. So we really need to make sure that there's clear posing and silhouettes, which I think is a great thing. That's one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's something that people always need to learn. So that's what I really like about this rig. The hands, I would say, are not the easiest, but in that sense, I think that puts our students on a path of like being very conscious of how they're drawing hands, and I think that's important. I think that's really important. So I love the hands on this character for that exact reason.
There's a certain amount of clarity that you have to do because I've said this on other streams before, like, as humans, we are not people that can beam ideas to one another, through thought waves or whatever, like you see in those sci-fi movies or whatever, where people got giant brains and they're, beaming ideas back and forth to one another. Mm-hmm. So communication, therefore, becomes a huge deal, right? You've got to be able to clearly communicate. And if you've got something like I did before, which is like my first pass, with something that looks like a garden rake, like that, this here is a confusing image visually. And that's why we talk about, the importance of silhouette value, right? Where even if we didn't see any of these, I'm going to drop a layer right here, right? So if I was to, I'm just going to finish this part here really quickly, this other leg, and have it, come out like this, right? If I was to take this other layer and just fill this full of black, you can still more or less see what's going on. right? Even if I was to fill this part too, here,
I love the little beaker. Okay, I think I figured out my audio and your audio, so I was able to bring it back a little bit. I hope it's still clear. I'm seeing multiple audio channels going off right now.
but you see how like it still has the silhouette value. So if you can do this with your pose and it still you still can tell what's going on,
Yeah.
then you've got something going on that's working, or at least you can say that it's working a little bit better than when you started. Um, okay. I suppose next, now that we've got this one pose, let's try one more other pose with this particular um, Petrie. So let's do Petrie before he went mad.
That's a good call.
Okay.
Before and
So
after.
yeah, I think Petrie before he was exposed to uh, certain chemicals or something like that, that he would be a little bit more straight up and down, very controlled. And the P's are kind of like just above the half line, right? So if we were to cut the P straight in half, then that line would be just above it, right? For that um, asymmetry. Because when we're talking about living things, symmetry usually is not a thing in nature, right? I mean, there's a certain symmetrical value in the fact that we have two eyes and two
Mm-hmm.
ears and that kind of thing. But as most people, their eyes are like offset just a little bit, or their ears are offset just a little bit, um, and that's why they talk about standards of beauty being things that are more symmetrical than not. Um, and as humans, we're sort of attracted to that
Have you ever
quality.
seen yourself in a true mirror?
I don't know if I have
Well, because
or
your reflection is the opposite. So when you're looking at yourself flipped from how others look at you.
mhm.
So they say when you look into a true mirror, that mirror will take the image and flip it so that you're looking at yourself the same way other people look at you. And it's a bit eerie because you do look different when you're flipped.
Maybe that's what turned Petrie mad.
Maybe
He looked into a true mirror and he was
he
like,
looked
"Oh,
into a true mirror and
oh no!"
I actually started to part my hair differently when I saw myself in a true mirror. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to part my hair on the other side now.
I should
So
totally do that.
it's, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I should part my hair on the other side. Here, let me do it real quick. Done.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Okay. And okay, so back to Petrie before he went mad. Now, this is a little bit boring, this pose we've got going on, and I think
Mm-hmm.
we can add a little bit more personality just by throwing it off its axis a little bit.
It's very
I'm just
default.
gonna drop this pivot point here and just do this. And at the same time, I'm going to tilt this a little bit this way so we still have, I'm going to warp it a little bit. So we still get the feeling that he's like up and down and upright, but like back a little bit, like tilted backward. And that's kind of a trick that, sometimes you can do in animation where if something's tilted back, but you keep the eyes on that same kind of level surface, that it can create, that feeling of being back, but not the look that is just tilted on screen. Because then it would look cheap, right? Then it wouldn't look like very like a good performance. Um, and let's have him. We'll put his lids down eyelids down a little bit.
Yeah, the art of tilting and adjusting your image for rotations and perspectives like that is definitely an art form. Very big in rigging and animation. Mo wants to know where you find that mirror, and Mo, I found it at a art exhibit, so so I don't know where. You could check Amazon, but I don't know if I don't even know. I think they're called the True Mirror. I honestly think that you look it up and that's an actual name, but I do not know where you'd get one. Oh my goodness. What was the story? How does a pea turn mad? Were we doing the mirror? They saw themselves in a true mirror, and it's like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde scenario.
Maybe.
A pea of two faces. A pea of many faces.
Well, we can also even go for the more studious look on this particular pea instead of glasses. Though I think maybe the play here is like eye protection
Yes, yes,
because he's
yes.
dealing with
The big
chemicals.
goggles.
Yeah, that way. I mean, because you can do like the Cartoon Network style, Dexter's Laboratory type glasses, and that fueled that particular design style, which has a lot of traces of UPA and designers like Tom Orab in it, where it's very, very graphic styling. Um, and one of the things about these peas here is we don't need to have a nose bridge because they don't have noses. So we can do this and have him looking at some kind of, clipboard or something like that.
There we go. Yes, I'm seeing it. Yes, the clipboard makes it official.
Maybe it's even an iPad. Let's do that. We'll do it high tech. We'll put a little camera thing on the back of it. And have him holding some sort of instrument of like a stylus of some kind.
Dot the I's and cross the P's.
There you go. We'll do one of those like maybe it's like a moving pad. Um, one of the new Wacom ones, the Android tablets. If you haven't seen them, you should check them out because they're pretty cool. And if you're an Instagrammer, they've got like a contest going on right now that you could actually win one of those. So check them out. I think it's called Spark the Story. So look for hashtag Spark the Story on Instagram.
Oh, I just saw that you posted that last night. Miss Preposterous Bradley has suggested that he went mad because he forgot his eye protection one day and the chemicals got in his eye.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a good one.
I like that his name is Preposterous.
Well, that's not... Well, we could do it. Preposterous P. Preposterous Petrie.
Well, I mean, he could even be... this one, he looks a little pretentious.
Pretentious. He could be... Mr. Petrie, and then turn into Preposterous Petrie in the mad scientist way. In his transformation. Kind of like Clark Kent and Superman have different names, same person.
Yeah. Like Kal-El and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
His real name and his Earth adopted name.
Man, I'm gonna have to start drawing with you because I feel like this P is so easy to draw, and yet when I try to draw the P,
so I think we can even talk about. I just had an idea for a P just from that little conversation. Is possible P, and I think he would just be like the most positive guy ever, and he'd be like, "Sky's the limit, you guys."
Ah.
A little bit of
And
that, like sort of Mickey Mouse type posing.
if anybody's drawing the P with us, please send us an image on Instagram. Eat your peas underscore hashtag no underscore ACC. Please send us the images. I'm trying. I just started trying on my post it. We'll see if I can do this well. Professor Petrie. That name was suggested. I like that one too.
Or just Professor P.
Professor P.
Professor P. Like I feel like he should be wearing a bow tie. Okay, so Petrie went from pretentious to
I like Possible P.
perturbed.
Possible P is how I feel almost every day.
You can do it, guys. Everything's
can.
possible for you. I think he even needs like bigger eyes. Like he's just so darn adorable. And maybe even like, you know, eyelashes. Maybe possible P is a girl. So we can give her big freaking, battable lashes.
Oh my goodness, well, I'm going to do this. I'm committed to the drawing.
Because we need more alliterative names, right? We need more alliterative names for these P's. The field is open right now, fairly. So take advantage of that. Stake your name claim. But you can see just in there, it's the same design virtually, but we just kind of messed with the elements a little bit to give it a different like life to it, right? Give it a different performative base. And I'm going to take this face because it's a little bit off model, and just shrink that face just a little bit and put it up so it fits more in with the model that we're seeing here. I feel like it's a little bit less cute, but again, we could just change the model for that particular P just a little bit to give it a little bit more personality. For positive P, and then we go with Petrie.
Can you see my little Petrie? I will post this on Instagram. It's pretty.
Oh yeah, look at that. You need to get you a green pen.
I've got one. But the green pen doesn't show as well. We actually have a green pen.
Yeah. Okay. We need another P now. We have
Petrie
positive
P.
P. We have Petrie.
We got Petrie P. Are we still working with the mad scientist theme?
I mean, we could. We can talk
the
about.
scientist theme?
We could talk a little bit about like accessories and like taking a base model and accessorizing it so it could have that different kind of look. I mean, we have a hat on this guy over here, uh, but like, let's just drop a layer, and I'm gonna draw in orange in honor of our carrot friend, and we could just add a little, mustache layer like this.
Oh, now he's getting real hairy, bushy.
And do like this sort of Einstein-esque mixed with a little freakazoid or Bruce Timm type hair. Maybe even a small jacket that has tattered ends.
Oh, the little lab coat. Yes.
Yeah. So another thing that's a trick when like you're drawing drapery and things like that is knowing the folds that cloth tends to do. I think there's like 7 or 8 common ones. But one thing that you have to think about is the way that it's draping, what how it flows one part to another. Because one of the things I see in a lot of rigs, especially,
Mm-hmm.
is this whole thing where they do like one coat thing and one coat thing, and then they do that, where it's just a line, or they do that, and stylistically, I guess that's okay, but I don't know. I think it's kind of like, I don't want to say lazy, but like it's kind of a cop out in my opinion. And you can disagree with me all you want. That's fine. I don't care. But instead of this, having something that actually relates as a whole holistically, so it feels like one piece instead of 3 different pieces,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like if we were to design a coat,
I mean, I
we could
break up pieces like this all the time, so show us what you mean.
so I taking the bottom curvature, because this is one sheet of cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just wrapped around something. And so you want to take that bottom line here and bring it around like this.
Yeah. We have a comment that says any show that they've worked on without fail has had a coat redress. And I can tell you, I've working on Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs, I had to do a ton of coats. And I'm like in my head I'm like racking. I'm like, do I take the easy way and just do the quick version, or do I follow through with what you're showing us here? Cuz in builds it's so easy to go both ways, where you can take, if you're working on something for so long, you can take that shortcut. But I mean, what you've got here is definitely a lot more cleaner. And then again with rigs, you're constantly looking at the pieces as they are as a whole. So I'm pretty sure I've taken the shortcut, but also probably spent the time, depending on what character I'm working on. Be so easy.
Yeah. But I just, I'm a big proponent of cheap comes out expensive.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay for it one way or the other. So you might as well do the best job you can up front, because it's like the people who try to save 15 minutes on our commute by doing something dumb, and then they get in a car wreck. You're like, okay, well, I guess that 15 minutes was totally worth it, right? Um, but maybe that's an extreme example, but at the same time, I feel like that's a thing a lot of people encounter. And if you just take a little extra time, do it the way that you know it should be done, and you'll save yourself so many headaches in the end. Even if it did take that extra 15 minutes, but you avoided a terrible accident, I think it's worth it.
I think the part about building something in rigs is you have to work with the deformers. And so when you're building something that's a curve, you can't curve it the other way. So people will build the straight line. And the goal is you build the straight line and then you curve it into position. And
Right.
then that curve can go, you know, concave,
You have what,
convex.
like a line deformer right
Yeah.
here, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
right
yeah. So
here, and
that's
then right here.
because you're working on the like It's really easy to say take the shortcut or not take the shortcut, but in reality, when you're building this in rigs, it is actually a little bit more of a setup because fabric's not hard, or sorry, fabric's not easy. That's the thing. Coats like this that have to go through the arms and all the layers can be pretty challenging. It looks great though.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like animation, like when it's an animation. Sure, you can build it in rigs, so where it's malleable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where it's malleable, but like even if you build it flat, this line has to line up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that would be animation's job too. Everybody's got their role to play in making it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were to take this same drapery and such,
This is
let's
main character energy for
pull
these
there.
peas.
And Lindsay, I believe you have a new cohort that's happening, right?
We're
At,
trying. Yeah, we just launched our program. Yeah, officially. So we've got January 13th as our first class. We are yeah, we're advertising that now. Eatyourpeas.ca. You can take a look at our program. Um, I don't have a way to type that into the chat through the setup. I have to figure that out still. But yeah, eatyourpeas.ca. We are launching our first schools for January, and the first deadline is coming up quick. December 7th is our first class deadline, and that would be for January. And then we have another class starting in May, and then September. And it is a 12-week program, 3 months, full time. And we're literally teaching people how to work in a studio. And then you can take those skills and apply to work at a studio, or you can start your own studio. You probably need a couple more friends to start a studio. You probably don't want to do a studio of one. I was just talking about that today, the differences. So, um, uh, I mean, Mike, you've got a lot more experience than even I do, even working by yourself and freelance. Would you rather run a studio by yourself or with a team?
with the team,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No question. Okay, so I don't know how many of our audience knows, but I started my own company about a year ago.
Hmm.
It's called the Projectorium, and you can find it at the-projectorium.com. Um, and I've been working with a team of contractors for a while, and I'm hoping that we can, you know, make some cool stuff and make a good run of it as far as making more media,
Hmm.
whether it be cartoons or games or whatnot. We're working on a couple of things. You can see our current work right now on PlayQ's Treasure Party app, where we've done about so far, I think it's over 800 images for that game over the course of the last year. And there's no way that I could have done that on my own.
Hmm.
No way. And not do the quality. And I am not a big proponent of AI, and neither is the art director over at PlayQ,
I don't think
because
anybody who's going to watch this channel would be a fan of AI. I have a feeling,
I have
just
a
a
feeling
small
you're right.
feeling. Hmm.
I have a feeling you're right. Um, but at the same time, like, there's no way I could have done that on my own, right? So we have a process that we go through with concepts and layouts, and then to flats and final paint. Um, but also working within that team environment, you have a lot of different opinions and a lot of different people that can collaborate one with another and learn from each other. There's a power in that you don't
Hmm.
really partake of if you're a person who's privately pounding away at. Okay, I lost the alliteration. Um, but if you're just doing solo, you're kind of cloistered off a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And so that's sometimes it's good. Sometimes if you need to focus on something, you've got this spectacular vision in your head that you need to get out, and you just need to focus on it and be there by yourself and concentrate. But I found animation is so collaborative that it's hard to just be a one person studio unless that's just how you are in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a lone wolf kind of person. But even, as I recently have discovered, even a lone wolf, they're generally the alpha of the pack that's watching over everyone else. So, I mean, there was an interesting documentary bit that I saw the other day that there's a certain order to a wolf pack when it travels, when the whole pack travels. The old and the sick are put up front, and they set the pace. So the weakest among them
Oh, that's nice.
are are not left behind by the rest.
Yeah.
So they set the pace, and then behind them are the strong warriors and the young, capable, wolves that can aid and assist quickly if something goes down in the front of the column, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be right in there, uh, bailing out whoever's been attacked. And then behind that is the protection class of the females and children. So the future of the pack is
Oh, that's
protected.
interesting.
And then behind them is another guard class that protects them. So they're encapsulated on both sides with protection. But far off, a little ways behind, is the alpha of the pack, and he's surveying the scene from either a height or somewhere and will give commands. But he's in the back. He's in the back surveying the entire area and is a little ways off from everyone else. There's the strongest can go by themselves, but even the strongest by themselves is looking over the rest of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that to be very insightful as far as like a lesson for life that sure you can lone wolf it, you can absolutely do that, but by that same token, you can still look after your pack. You can still collaborate and then go off on your own for a while and then come back and collaborate again.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that says you can't.
Yeah, I think that the most important part of anime. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the most important part, but when you're and especially not when you're talking about being the lone wolf, but um, I think the nicest part about discovering what it's like to work on a team, I think especially since we have, and there's some people in the chat who have worked in studios and have some experience working in teams, um, and I don't think it's limited to animation teams. It's teams in general, but when people have their specific workflows and know what they're doing to contribute to a project, and you can rest assured that certain things are going to be done through other people. I think that that brings so much peace to a project in a way. You can trust that the work's going to get done. I don't know what you've just drawn in the hair, but I really I really like it. It's a little feather. It's like a like popped up. But yeah, I think that it's super. I think it's really important that people really understand that they don't have to do it all themselves. I think there's a trend right now that's people are starting their own studios and doing from X, Y, and Z, going through the motions, and I think that's exhausting. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just think that it's exhausting, and I think a lot of people burn out. I think a lot more people burn out that we notice than the people that are able to make it happen. So I think
Yeah.
it's nice working with a team, especially when everybody knows their part that they're playing. And I personally, that's what Eat Your Peas is there for. Eat Your Peas is there to help people understand their part in the process and the pipeline and get the work done efficiently and fun. That's the other thing. It is fun once you know what you're doing, and you can start to pass work from people to people.
Yeah. Peas, peas in a pod, right?
Peas in a pod.
I think that's what you should call, instead of a cohort, you should call it a pod.
Let's
I
get
think
it going first. We have to make it clear
come
before
join the
we have
pod,
fun.
people. Come become pod people.
We need. I like to call people. I've been calling people people, and in my head, that's how I'm spelling it.
Oh, PEAPLE.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Creative people.
Well, we've been on for about an hour. Does
Mm-hmm.
anyone have any? Do we have any questions
Do you have any
coming from the
questions? We did
chat?
not ask for questions. We do have some
Let's
people
ask for
saying that
questions. Let's do it. I like it.
taking the shortcut is so tempting when under crunch time, but when you have tight turnarounds. But I've learned that it will save you so much time in the long run just making it right the first time. 100% take that extra time, and I was a supervisor once, so I can't argue with that. It is true. You do have to, it is better, especially with rigging. Holy smokes, it is better to start from scratch, do it right the first time, then try to take the shortcut, and then try to fix it. But
Well,
yeah,
and
do you
there's
have
a
any
certain
questions
amount
from
of
the audience?
analysis, huh?
Hmm?
There's a certain amount of analysis that you have to do just to find out what went wrong. Like, especially as a
Yeah.
supervisor, talking about a supervisor, if you've got a rigger that's like, I'm phoning it in today, I don't care. And then you've got to take time to diagnose what the issue is. And that just eats up production time like nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you're scratching your head thinking, okay, where is this breaking, when it could have just not been broken in the first place. It's one thing if you're new, right? If you're new, you don't totally have a handle on the entire thing yet, but you're good enough to be on the crew.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can kind of like lean on your supervisor a little bit and be like, all right, I want you to look at this to make sure that it's cool before I turn it in. If you've got a supervisor who is not going to be great with you, and is of the mind that they should terrorize you as much as possible to get you to work hard, like, not so great. But if you've got a really good rigging supervisor, or a good supervisor in general for boards or animation or whatever it is, you should be able to just talk to them and be like, hey, I need some help with this. Could you, give me another pair of eyes and come look at it? I think that open communication is important for any team.
It's crucial.
So,
it's crucial.
anyways, so sorry, I got off on a little bit of a tangent. But what were you saying before that?
No, I'm just saying. I was just echoing you. It's crucial. Communication is crucial. You should be able to go to your your supervisor. And
Yeah.
if you can't go to your supervisor, come to us. Because I've also seen supervisors that you can't ask questions to, and they're out there. It's crunchy. We don't have any questions. Nobody's asked any questions.
Well, to be fair,
Sounds
we
like
didn't
we
ask
solved
for them.
all the problems.
We've solved production, and it basically boils down to be nice to everybody.
I mean, that's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could add a couple rules to that, but I think that would be pretty accurate.
right. But I mean, going back to the idea that the lone wolf versus the pack, um, we could do a pack of peas.
I like pack of peas.
Pack of peas?
Can you draw one thing before we leave?
Yeah, let's do it.
What if it's a pea pod with peas in it, and the pea pod has a zipper?
Okay.
To me, that's a pack of peas.
So pea pods are generally what, like this? Got kind of a thing where you see the outline of the peas. And I'm squinting because I'm trying to like break the down visually in my eyes so I can see the shape a little bit better. It's like an old figure drawing trick where you like squint and it forces your eyes to like break down the shape a little bit more clearly. I think Carl Ganas, the figure drawing teacher, who's got a website out there, was one of the big proponents of like squint down and see the basic value patterns of a figure, when you're drawing figure drawing. So I think we can, if it's going to be a zipper, have it maybe not that much, but, and then we'll put a big leafy zipper on the end. And then I might have a brush here that can do like a zipper-ish pattern. Let's try this.
Oh, look at this.
Because why should we toil when we don't have to?
Did you design that, or was that just there?
I was just there. So
That's
this is
excellent.
Clip Studio Paint on sale, by the way, if anybody wants to ditch Photoshop for something way better. Photoshop was great for its time, but it has gone into, like Petrie here, has gone into madness.
Preposterous Miss Bradley is also drawing a Petrie, so please tag us. Please let us see what you're drawing. Create, add to the world. Yes. Pack of peas. Kind of like a pack of gum, but not quite.
Got a big old pack of peas. I think only peas and pickled peppers come in packs like that. No, that's a peck of pickled peppers. Because Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
We're going to have to take that and peify it. I mean, it already is, but pickled. Peter Piper picked a... Peter Piper picked a pack of peppers.
Picked a pot of perfect peas.
Peter Piper picked a perfect pot of peas.
There you go.
That is good.
Or picked a pot of perfect peas. Either way, it works.
I feel like our little Professor Petrie here, I'm like trying to remember all the P words that we use that I can't.
Okay, so I'm going to drop just a mask down on this pot.
Analyzing peas. He's looking for the perfection in all these peas.
There you go. I'm going to just drop a quick mask right here. Just so we're not having to belabor over that. You can kind of still see it a little bit, but for the most part, it's gone. And going back to this layer, one of the things that, you know, when you do like ensemble type work is making sure that there's either one direction that they're all looking, if they're all looking at the same sort of focal point. But, you know, with these P's, a little bit of chaos has kind of been part of like their personality. So if there's a synonym for chaos that starts with P, we would love to hear about it. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of that to position and pose the P's. So we'll start with doing a little bit of this.
I'm going to Google it.
And have one of them, you know, going that way, one of them going this way, one of them going this way, and then one of them, you know, kind of going like this. So they're all a little bit different.
I Googled it. I have a couple words.
Yeah.
Psychotic, psycho.
Oh no, no, it has to have the hard P on it.
Psycho. Oh, that's true. That's true. We also have peculiar, preposterous, puzzling, pandemonium, and punchy. Oh, it's so cute.
What about pandemonious? Is that a word?
It's somebody could use it. You could use it. We can use it.
The P's are pandemonious. And we'll give this one just a little bit of off-model shaping.
A pandemonium pack of peas.
So given, we'll break this circle up a little bit so it's not a perfect circle, but it has a little bit of a bend to it. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're rigging it, like you had like 3 or 4 points, like you could just extend this so it gives it a little bit of an off oblong type shape, or just rotate the actual P and elongate it. Both those options I think would be good as far as like rigging is concerned. But having just the variety in you know the variety of different directions they're putting them in, it breeds that sort of pandemonious, we're going to make it a word if it's not a word already, um, pandemonious type of feeling and flavor.
They there's so many people. I'm getting so tongue tied right now. The preposterous Miss Bradley said, "Pandemonious pack of peculiar peas." These
There you
guys
go.
don't look peculiar. They just look like they're in awe. They're like baby peas. They look like they could be going down a lazy river and just enjoying the sights. It kind of looks like a canoe. I love the little pea beaks.
It's like a almost like a fish lips type of.
Oh, I like the beak. I like the sharp beak over the fish lips. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
just be like a lip kind of pushed out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more of a Simpsons-y style. Um,
Yep. On the one side, it's all fun and flowers, and on the other side, there's a giant dinosaur that's sneaking up on them. Don't ask where I got that. I just made it up, but that that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's adorable.
we'll give one a little sprout on the top of the head just for funsies.
Mm-hmm. A
Um,
little pea shoot.
yeah, pea shoot. Okay. And then just give this a little bit more volume, so we don't have any questions about whether or not this pea is like fully in there, right? Because you need space to be able to see where something goes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, unless you're doing a style that doesn't care about that. But you know, it's such a slippery slope, though. Okay, a little design philosophy of mine is like, design cannot compensate for weak fundamentals. I feel like a lot of people that have weak fundamentals try to design their way out of it by being wacky.
It's
Um,
possible. Yeah, I can see that.
and sometimes it works. Sometimes it works.
I would also argue that if people are struggling with their fundamentals, they still don't know the fundamentals and don't even know they're doing it.
That could be it, and but don't use design as a mask for not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
and instead like admit to yourself, maybe I don't know it yet, and then join HRPs and get the training.
Eat your peas will
You know what I
definitely
mean?
help
So
with
but
that.
but like, the improvement of your own skills is definitely worth the investment.
Yeah.
Like if it's something that, like, you know when you were a kid, oh, I want to make cartoons for a living. I think that'd be so cool. Um, but then you like, you don't push forward toward that goal, then it may not have been that passionate of a goal of yours. So like, but for other people, it's like this is the only thing I can feel like I could ever do, and really something that I would find fulfilling, and if you have the talent and the skill level to match, then great. Sounds like you're in a good spot. If it's a burning passion, but your skills don't reach the professional level quite yet, you went to, say you went to school for it and everything, then, that's where the Eat Your Peace mentorship is going to help you,
Mm-hmm.
round that corner,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, it's got to be a burning passion within you because that's what's going to sustain you through times that you may be going through something like personally, emotionally with your art, that having that passion to say this is the only thing that I want to do, that's going to bring you through it. So I'll just a small personal story. So
Go
I
on.
was, huh?
I said go on.
Go on. Okay. So I had the opportunity in 2008 to be an animation apprentice at Walt Disney Animation Studios. So the Hat Building down in Burbank, the big show, as they say, and it was great. And I had an amazing mentor. Uh, I was able to apprentice with Eric Goldberg, which was the coolest. Because Eric is such an amazing guy, personally and everything. And I don't want to like. I'm not trying to do like this as a name drop or whatever like that. But about 3 weeks in, I was struggling hard to the point where I was sitting at my desk and like almost having a mental breakdown about like how I felt not good enough to be there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
that's crazy to
I
hear that
felt like
you hit that point. I think that's interesting. Go on. Sorry.
yeah, but because you're surrounded with all of these people that are
Mm-hmm.
so talented and they're so like amazing at what they do, and all this artwork all over the walls, and you're just like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to feel so small inside, right? I started to feel very insignificant, and it started manifesting in the artwork. And so I think when you get at that level, there's a certain amount of swagger you've got to be able to carry with you,
Mm-hmm.
and a certain amount of confidence that you have to carry with you. But you know, all of us will break at some point.
Confidence
You know,
is a muscle you have to practice. I will say it myself. I struggle sometimes, even at my level. So it's hard to. It's actually hard for me to imagine you not being confident because you're one of the most talented and confident people that I know.
Aw.
But even I struggle with my confidence sometimes as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was sitting and I was working late that night, trying to get some stuff done to meet a deadline, and I just had a little moment where I just had to stop and vent the emotion out, of these terrible feelings of inadequacy and not being able to feel like I was measuring up to the expectation, or uh, that I was just doing awful work and I was blowing my chance at greatness or whatever. But it was that desire and that passion to create stuff and to become better and to push through that pain
Mm-hmm.
to get to the next level, like to break through that barrier, because leveling up requires breaking through your previous barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Honest enough with yourself to say, yes, I can make it to the next level, but it is going to cost me some emotional pain.
I think that's you're describing growing pains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and learning always includes growing pains. The first one is when you're kind of curious about something, and it's like you put it off. You're like, oh, I should be practicing piano. I told myself I practice piano. I should be practicing piano, and then you don't practice piano. just getting in the habit of practicing piano is the first level of growing pains. And then you have to talk your way through or talk yourself through um, all the other levels of that of that skill. And I'm talking about piano, but we can absolutely easily put that on drawing because I think that that's such a that's common when
Yeah.
you're learning a new skill. Hmm.
And I think that's where, having your pot of peas together
Yeah, 100%. I
helps
was
too,
thinking the
because
same thing.
if you have somebody that you're close enough to turn to with problems and be like, okay, uh, buddy, I'm having a low moment, and there's no
Hmm.
shame in that. Everybody has them.
Hmm.
So and I think that's we can get to that level of teamwork where we're helping each other out and doing the things that will help uh, nurture each other into a higher level, right?
Yeah. I
Um,
the way I see that is when you are, and this is go back to the lone wolf analogy. When you're by
right.
yourself and you're telling yourself that you are not good at what it is that you're doing, or however you're phrasing that sentence. But when you have a team and you can bounce that off, I know my friends are going to tell me I'm talented, and sometimes I need to hear it from them. And what I'm telling myself is almost like a lie. And so I have to not believe my own lie and then listen to my friends. And then sometimes that's what brings me through to the next level of the growing
Yeah.
pains.
And fighting back the whole idea of imposter syndrome, like I
Mm-hmm.
was I was going through, and I think a lot of all of us are going to go through it at one point or another. I think if you say that you haven't had it at one point, then either you're really lucky or you're not being honest with yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think at that point, you just have to kind of have enough mental grit to just banish the idea from your mind and be like, no, I'm awesome and I'm going to be awesome. And there's nothing that can stop me from being awesome, let alone you, small doubt in my brain. Let's kick you to the curb. You don't belong here. And sometimes it's a matter of just exercising the demon, for lack of a better term. You just
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
to. It reminds me of like the old wrestling in the 80s when you had like Hulk Hogan's down and he's this, or the Ultimate Warrior and he's pinned or whatever like that, and then they just kick out, and all of a sudden they have this sort of like rallying thing that they do where Hulk Hogan's hulking out, or uh, you know somebody just rallies back, and sometimes that's kind of what you have to do, is be your own cheerleader and be like, I'm gonna get through it, and whatever that is for you, whether it's you know I'm gonna go uh, conquer somebody in a video game, or I'm gonna go bake the perfect cake and then eat it and be like, yeah, I am awesome, this is what I can do. Whatever that thing is that helps you to get through it, if you're away from your pod, then sometimes it's just a matter of just saying, yes, I can do it. I can point back to experiences where I've done it, and I can make this happen.
We've got a couple comments. Preposterous Miss Bat Bradley says that when they were working on the Tuttle twins with you and all those talented folks, they're still worried that they're not living up to any professional standards. Well, I would say the professional standards are definitely changing. So don't hold yourself up to the standards right now. I'm seeing a lot of people do that, and it's not an individual artist issue. It's like a industry wide crisis. So don't hold yourself to the standards that are happening right now, especially there's so many people that are looking for work, and it's really easy to tie your worth and your work to the job that you do or don't have. So be careful. That's a
Well,
trap. That's a
I
trap.
would just say anybody that I worked with on the Tuttle Twins deserved to be there. So
Yeah.
I
That's why
would
you were
say
chosen.
the fear is probably very real, but it might not be warranted.
And Anna says having to learn getting out of your own head as a junior was really important for me to
Oh
move
yeah.
past those feelings, and that imposter syndrome is so real. And like I said, I've felt it I've felt it recently, very, very recently, just doing those spooky stories interviews. If you watch, I watched that and I can see how nervous I was interviewing these two women that were, in my opinion, great, great industry vets, and very, what's the word? Very impressive, astounding for the work that
Accomplished, I
they've
think
done.
might be the word.
Accomplished, that's the word, yes,
Yeah.
accomplished. So
Well,
it's so real.
and you are going to meet people that are very accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
I met Gendy Tartakovsky one time at a thing at the DGA that I was at as one of the volunteer help staff, and that was amazing. And he was a super cool guy, and it was nice to be able to talk to him and be like, "Yeah, we're both from Cal Arts, and all this other stuff." But you're gonna meet a lot of really accomplished people, and uh, you know, it's cool to talk to them maybe about some of the reasons or um, sort of character traits that helped them to get where they were, to get where they were and where they are. And a lot of it, I think, comes down to just the desire to do it and the determination to see it through to the end.
Yeah, and I would, again, lone wolf analogy. This is when you're looking at single sports, and I know, Mike, I was sending you images of my sister while she was powerlifting. Powerlifting is a
Yeah.
single person sport. It's not a team, and it's a you versus the weights. And I mean, you're constantly measuring against your personal best, and that's
Yeah. But there's also
where
that.
everybody should be. You measure it against your personal best, and as long as you've done the best work that you can, then that's something to be proud of.
But even in that, when you sent that to me, I doubt that your sister was lifting in practice by herself.
She had a
You know,
coach. You're right. Yeah, she
there
has a
was a
coach.
team.
Mm-hmm.
There was a team behind her, and when it's performance time,
Yep. Yeah,
she
you're
was
right.
by herself, and it was
Yep.
her versus the weights. But in the training, she's got that support system
Mm-hmm.
that is helping her out. So, there is time that you will have to perform on your own merits, and for whoever to see, and that's fine. You'll be prepared when that time comes. But you're gonna have times when other people are gonna collaborate with you and help you get to where you're gonna go. So again, I think that a lot of people that are watching this can and should take advantage of getting on the Eat Your Peas Discord, um, to get on and find out about the classes and see if that's
Mm-hmm.
right for you. Again, that they're starting very very soon, so
They're starting soon. 2026 is going to be huge.
it's going to be a big year. And
P power.
and I'm not trying to turn this into an advertisement,
I am.
but I'm definitely like, uh, it's a place where you can go that I know that you're going to learn something very helpful. And I have no qualms about recommending people to go and do that mentorship, because it's going to help you. Like I said, if you haven't turned the corner yet, it's going to help you have and develop the skills to turn that corner.
Yeah, you're going to have 3 months of constant feedback from professionals. It's a game changer, because that's what you get when you get your first job. And that's what that's what you need. That's what people need. Practicing in isolation is difficult, but practicing with a team of professionals is something else. So
It is.
that's what they're giving you. Mm-hmm.
In that aforementioned internship at Disney Feature, we got to go to dailies a few times. And if you're not familiar with the concept of dailies, dailies is when in the morning you'll arrive and everybody goes into this small theater and they show the shots. Everybody shows the shots that they're working on. And the directors are there. Ron and John were there. And this was during Princess and the Frog. Um, and all of the lead animators are in there. And they're all discussing and debating on whether or not a scene is ready to go forward. And that's where the director will put their stamp of approval on a scene, whether or not, and it could be accepted or rejected for any number of different reasons,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could be even that
You learn the
there's
notes.
yeah, it's time for the director to give notes because they have a vision of the overall. They're the lone wolves of the pack, and then you've got the animators that are the leads that are kind of up front, behind the pace people, but or wolves. But seeing some of the feedback that even the professional animators were getting from the directors, they're still getting notes. So,
The
but
notes never
all
end.
of them are amazing.
The notes never end. That's the
But the
secret.
notes just they get to a different echelon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the notes they're not about the technical anymore. That when you're in that kind of environment, the notes are not the technical notes because they know that you understand the technical. The thing that puts the layman and the professional on different levels of skill is the fact that the professionals at that level of Disney feature animation are so good at the technical that it's no longer an issue. And everything is about the performance, everything is about the filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's the difference. Like when we're still talking about, oh, can we do this technical thing? Uh, the answer is, I think so. When we're learning still, and everybody's in a different point in their journey, so that's going to be a thing for a while. But when you get to those upper echelons of animation, you're so good at the technical that if you can't do it right away, you'll figure it out. But it's a secondary thing to the performance and the film.
Yep. Yeah. And Miss Bradley says that they love getting notes, and that's their favorite part of the creative process now. And I mean, I would agree. Doing work without notes, I find is so much harder than doing the work with notes and understanding where you fit in that, the part of what it is that you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite part
Well,
too.
I'm at the point right now where I'm the one more or less giving the notes
Mm-hmm.
to people that are working with me on my team, and I hope that they appreciate what little that I often have time for. But I try to make sure that my notes are um, concise and easy to understand, even if my handwriting maybe not be. But I write in all caps generally. Uh, but kind of making sure that everyone can have that clear note and things that I'm seeing from the lone wolf position, like for a set of illustrations, like over the entire set,
Mm-hmm.
or things that I'm catching that are errors that need to be fixed or things that could be improved. And then I'll get notes myself from the art director on the client side and things that I missed. And so, or things that I didn't consider, or
And that's
things
what I
that,
mean. The notes never end. You're going to get them
yeah,
from someone. Someone's always handing out the notes. The notes don't end until the show is over.
yeah. But,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, we have to also realize that, uh, when we get notes, it's not meant to hurt you, it's meant to help you
Yeah. Notes are
or to
always supposed
bring
to help.
something in line with a larger project. So, all right, cool. Is
On that
there
note, the end.
on that note the end?
on
That's
that
a really
on
abrupt
that
end, but I
note,
like it.
approved. That's our first pea and paper, peas and paper episode, whatever this was. Let us know if you want to see more. That's number one. We'd love to do this again. Mike's obviously the creator of these peas, and I he draws them so well. So maybe there's future episodes that we can talk about. We do have three scripts. I haven't really shared that with people. We have three scripts. We have three episodes around these peas that we're actually building in our school. So if you want to work on this fake TV show that we're building, for social media, for YouTube, for wherever you want to place it, we're here for it. But our goal is to teach people how to make cartoons, get jobs, or start your own studio. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody. This was
Well,
lovely.
fake show, real credits, right?
Fake show, oh, that's a great one. Fake show, real credits. I love that. So you'll see that in our Instagram, social media somewhere someday. Thanks so much. Oh yay, we got sketches in the Discord. Yay, join the Discord and upload your images. And I'm excited to log in and see those right now. All right, have a great night, everybody. Peace out. How do I end this?